Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be talking about The Amazing Digital Circus Season 1, Episode 7. Now, like pretty much the other reviews I've talked about this show, it's going to be spoiler filled because it's been out for a couple days. We've had time to let it sit and just process what we just witnessed with this episode. But, alright, so this episode on the surface is marketed as a beach episode. You know, like a fun adventure at the beach. They're having fun. And then as like, okay, cool. But of course, with this show, it's more than just that. So going into the nitty gritty of the episode is them, you feel like you're going to finally get answers to like, could they escape? And is like, what's the lore behind how they got there and all that sorts of stuff. And there's this background character who is called Abel, who is letting them know, like, you saw him in previous episodes in the background, and especially in the 5th episode, they zoomed in on him, and you were like, okay, this guy, like, this character is important, something's gonna happen, they're gonna get together and escape. The whole episode was riveting, like, really entertaining to watch. I was really getting invested, and I've seen a lot of people mention how it feels like the episode was so quick for it being over 30 minutes, and I was watching it with one of my friends, and we were like, oh, it's almost over? Because we were like getting so invested and seeing it play out. And then of course you get to the ending, which was a big like what. But before I get into the ending, I did want to mention some other interesting stuff throughout the episode. Like, for example, the stuff you see Jax go through is like really crazy. Like, it feels like he's just ever since that fight with Pomni in the last episode, his demeanor, you could tell, has changed. He's still kind of his snarky self, but you could just tell he feels like hollow inside. And there's this one scene that I really wanted to mention where he's, in his bed, it's in the dark, he's just laying there, and he's looking at the Polaroids of, past memories, especially of his friends, Ribbon and Kaufmo. And then there's this sequence where he looks like he's like tripping balls, like, and you're like, what's going on here? And it's just insane, this whole sequence. But then you find out, like, when he wakes up from it, his eye colors and all, it looked like that was a big lore drop on that's what people potentially feel when they abstract, when they, and I guess in this world die and move on. And so that whole sequence, the music, like, it was really unsettling, and it really made me so uncomfortable how he seemed at peace with it. He was smiling during it. He was just so sedated and so like relaxed, like he's finally like done with it, but then getting brought back dramatically to reality, like his reality. That whole sequence was just really creepy. But again, like, seeing he's like, actually, he clocked it at the beginning, how he thought that this was all, one of Kane's adventures, and this guy was, that's saying that he's helping, is a twist villain. And you get to the end of the episode where, shockingly, like, a lot happened in the end episode. Like, for example, they were like, everyone was like, let's push the button, like, let's get out of here. But the console on the screen was so vague, and you're like, they're like, what? Like, just how it was worded could be misinterpreted in so many ways, and I think that was done intentionally to like really mess with their heads. And everyone's like, talk about, we need to press it, we need to get out of here, Pomni's like, let's wait. And then what's really fascinating was Jax had these these thoughts, and seeing stuff from the real world, which is potentially his real memories or something coming up. And it possessed him to hit the red button, which kept him there. And at first I was like, what? But then it turned out that he was right, and that all of this was just an adventure by Kane. And this whole 30 minutes we sat through, all that lore was just nothing, was just a waste of time. And a part of me is like, why'd you waste our time and all? But I'm just still, like, I'm trying to look at it through a psychological perspective, being like, this was insane to put us through. Like, this was just nuts. And just seeing, Jax break down, maniacally laughing, he was right. This was all just to mess with their heads. and then he started lashing out at Kane, and then everyone else was just really furious. And it was this, it's building to something, because I believe there's 2 episodes left of this show, but just seeing that whole end sequence was just really crazy. Like how they purposefully, Gooseworks purposely had that character, that Abel dude who was just an NPC, just part of a long con, like an adventure or whatever, purposely put him in the background for us to build these theories up, just to say, no, we're just messing with you all. None of this is real. And I was just like, I will admit, it's kind of infuriating, and I see a lot of people are like, what the hell? But I will say it is pretty ballsy to do something like that, just to toy with the fandom like that, to build these ideas, and like you spend all this time making up all this lore that's just nonsense. Again, it was really funny and really interesting. I will say I'm hooked. I'm really curious on how this will go. But besides all that stuff, there were some fun moments, like of laughter and stuff as well. Like there were these where Pomni was at the beach, before the episode where he gets into the nitty gritty, where she's going down looking for, I believe, Ragatha's eye that fell off, and she sees these 2 hilariously bad CGI fishes, and the voice performances and that whole thing. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to something, but that was so hilarious. And the voice actor of one of the fishes, I believe, like his voice is so distinct. I know him from somewhere. And a lot of people were saying he was, I think, the main character in Smile and Friends, and he also cameoed in Hazbin Hotel recently. So I think he's really funny, and I thought that sequence was fun. And also Jax, like, despite being all down and gloomy and just not in his right headspace, he's still, like, mainly because Pomni was asking him, he's still helping with the adventures, even whatever this was. Like that was so weird, having to reach down in Kane's mouth for that. I was like, huh? And then, like, I really, like, Jax is becoming, like, I really do like the character, especially in these past couple episodes, but just seeing his range of characterization, like, even this one shot where you get official confirmation, because you hear voices when he's staring at this, snow globe or something. That's obviously a past memory of his that I'm assuming we'll see in context in maybe another episode down the line. But you see that Ribbit, who is the frog character that he very clearly cared for, got a voice line in the credits. And so that obviously means that they wouldn't just get a voice actress for just that blink and you miss it type of thing you could barely hear. So that character is definitely going to come back in some way, whether it be a flashback or whatever. But again, this episode had a lot going for it. The unexpected twist, which really caught a lot of us off guard, which I will say kind of annoyed me, but I do kind of respect in terms of like what, like, I want to see more of what they're going with here before I really say it's bad and stuff, because that was really interesting to put us through all that. The whole stuff with Jax going through what he's been going through, I thought was great. The little stuff like, Gangle and, Zubul bonding and being, close with one another, I think is sweet. The animation overall, I thought, has improved. Like, you could just tell upon each episode and how quickly it feels like these episodes are coming out in, succession with one another. I think that's just great. And, I really enjoyed this whole episode all around. Every character I felt had a little bit of something, but obviously some characters, like probably Jax, outshined a lot more. Pomni was given a good amount, and I'm just really curious on where the show's going to go. But with all that said, those are all my thoughts on The Amazing Digital Circus, Season 1, Episode 7. Again, what'd you all think of this episode? Please let me know down below in the comment section. If you want to hit the bell as well to get notified when I upload, that would mean so much to me. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!